Hello, everyone. Welcome to Art Club. Today, you are going to be doing a watercolor project, and you have the choice between a dragon or Medusa. Okay, the other grade levels are doing other mythical creatures. So, this will be the end result in regular light and then in glow light. But let's talk about the mythical creatures. Okay, so here we have a kraken, we have a mermaid, we have a dragon, and there are thousands of mythical creatures in cultures around the world, each with different names. And as a general category, they're also supernatural beings, legendary creatures, and sometimes they're even called monsters. And you've seen so many of these mythical creatures, specifically in Greek mythology, um, in a lot of these different live action movies. We also have fairies, they're also part of the mythical realm. And people just keep coming up with random monsters, specifically as well for horror movies. Um, and then a lot of cartoon companies like Disney and Universal Studios, and all of these different companies have adapted these mythical creatures into movies. So here we have other examples. Now, if you've been in my class, you've done value scales. And you know that there's value scales in every single art medium that we've used, whether it's crayon, watercolor, marker, etc. Now, the difference between all of them is how you achieve the different value scales. So with watercolor, when you go to the darker tone, which is the darker value, you have very, very little water. And when you want a lighter value, you're going to be adding a lot of water. So, which is what we're going to be doing first. We're going to be using our wash. Now, the materials we're going to be using is obviously brushes, watercolor pen, water, your watercolor paper, your pencil. And that black thing right there is called a carbon paper. And carbon paper has two sides. It's got a matte side and it's got a shiny side. You will be tracing on the matte side, okay? And so the shiny part is going to be facing downward. Otherwise, it will not work when you do it. So today is day one, and I'm hoping we can pause here so that everyone can have materials. Now, because we don't have as many materials, you are going to have a partner and you're going to share the water cup, you're going to share the color pan. So here you are going to be using a pencil in order to press down on the drawing, okay? And it is a time lapse. And here's if you choose to do this one, it's going to work the exact same way. If you choose Medusa, you're just going to make sure you press on everything, and then you're going to lift off the paper and the carbon paper. Remember, the carbon paper has to be on the watercolor facing down, the shiny part down on the watercolor paper. And there you have it. Now, our next step is going to be wet on wet. So you have to have a diluted pigment in order to get a lighter value. Okay. So here, what I did was I added water first. You're painting with water, and then you can add your color. Okay, we're doing the exact same thing. I'm just giving it a wash. In watercolor, when you first do a very light base, it's called a wash. So go ahead and finish out either your dragon or your Medusa. Now, how do you achieve this peach color? Well, it's a combination of yellow, orange, and of course, a lot of water in order to make sure she doesn't look, like she had a really bad tan at the salon or something. Okay, so you want to make her look a little bit more natural. Here I'm adding green, but then I'm also going to add a little bit of blue to make it a darker green. And just keep going. You can add red for the lips, which is what I did. I just forgot to record the part where I was adding details. So once your paper is sort of dry, you can add some details with your small detailed brush. All right, so this is a good time to stop after you've done details. So this is a good time to stop and clean up after yourself. Make sure your paper has your name on it. Okay, and then we'll see you back on a day two so that we can add all the different details, whether it's watercolor details or just the glow in the dark details. All right, see y'all next time. All right, here we are on day two. So let's talk about glow in the dark. So glow in the dark is luminous paint or paint that glows because it contains phosphor, which is a substance that emits light for a certain length of time after exposure to an energy source, such as ultraviolet radiation. Okay, never mind. Basically, anything that is glow in the dark has to be charged, whether it's through sunlight or whether it's, super close to a light source. Okay, so it has to have some type of energy source. Okay. In the wild, we do have some animals that are naturally glow in the dark or luminescent. Okay, the firefly squid produces a blue light that scientists believe may be used for communication, camouflage, or attracting food. And this guy, the anglerfish, if you've ever seen Finding Nemo, number one, the first movie, you will see that Merlin and Dory, they get lost in the deep, dark ocean, and it is pitch black down there. And all of a sudden, there's a little light, and that attracts Dory to this predator, okay, the anglerfish. Okay, so that is the way he lures his food. Now, the humble jellyfish is the most bioluminescent animal on the planet. Estimated that about half of the 2,000 or so known species exhibit some kind of glowing ability. The most common use of light in jellyfish is to escape from predators. All right, so there you have it. Naturally glowing animals. Um, we also have frogs and other animals that aren't in the ocean. But we don't have time for that today because we have 45 minutes or less to complete this project. So let's get started. Before we start, all right, so here's a time lapse of me adding just the paint. Now, you're not going to have the UV or not the UV, the glow in the dark light because you guys don't have an enclosed space. But when we do have the exhibit, this is the way that it's going to be looking like. And it's actually really cool. Now, of course, The highlighters work really, really well. So as you can see, I finished with the actual paint and then I added details with the highlighter. Okay, this is the final result. So the pictures on the left are how they would look like without the black light, and then on the right, how they would look like with the black light. So super cool. Make sure you tell your parents that the exhibit is after spring break, everybody. Make sure y'all clean the brushes, please. There's that blue soap that's in the box. Make sure everyone is washing up those brushes. All right. Thanks, guys.